Well, hello and welcome to Hug in the Snug. Today we are joined by Trewin Restorick,
Yes.
who most of you will know for his role and involvement with Global Action Plan. However, we're not here to talk about that today, but we are here to investigate your new initiative. First of all, you know this is Hug in the Snug.
I do, yeah.
So first thing first. All right. I give you 30 seconds
Okay.
to tell us about your new initiative.
So in 30 seconds, so his new initiative is called Hubbub, and we're basically trying to try and find new ways to create a force for good by bringing people together. So what we want to do is we want to make environmental issues compelling, relevant and exciting to the people who are vaguely interested but wouldn't call themselves dark green.
Okay. Will those people be communities or just a bit more so that then
Okay,
we can
you
try
want
to
more. So,
I said 30 seconds.
yeah, well,
That
I
was
was
a-
short, wasn't it? So what we're going to do is we're going to create hubs around different themes. So a theme like food.
Okay.
And we think it's very important to create change that you actually do have a physical community. So for the food hub, we're going to be doing it in Oxford, and we're going to do it at Halloween. And the reason we're doing it at Halloween is that we discovered that the UK throws out 18,000 tonnes of pumpkin at Halloween. The day after
knew?
Halloween, it all goes to landfill sites. So we think that's disastrous. We don't think any edible food should be thrown to landfill sites. And we think that actually the public need to get involved and businesses need to get involved. So in Oxford, around Halloween, we're going to have pop-up restaurants with ideas for pumpkin recipes. We're going to have pumpkin parade of the dead, where people bring their pumpkins and they'll get awarded, and then we'll turn those pumpkins into soup and link up with food banks. So we do lots of sort of really engaging things in Oxford, but obviously that's not going to solve sort of no food waste to landfill. So we're going to be amplifying that through lots of chefs, through social media, through media itself. So there'll be recipes in magazines. So actually we try and create a broader movement. So a social movement through
Okay.
media, but actually with a core of activity with a community.
And you have mentioned the word community and the community side of it, but you said businesses. So the question for today is, can businesses or corporates actually be good for communities?
I think some can. I think there's a veneer thin layer of businesses that truly get the importance of being more sustainable. And they increasingly realise that. And actually a lot of it's being driven by, well, you know, the weather patterns are getting more disruptive, so our supply chains are getting harder to sort of keep secure. You know, we're worried that we want to attract the best talent, but, you know, we have to talk to them about our sustainability credentials. You know, there's a whole host of reasons, as well as, you know, resource costs are going up. So there's a group of businesses that I see are really taking a lead, and, you know, and they're people like the Sainsbury's and the Unilevers. And I think those businesses are way ahead of the average customer. So they're not actually getting more custom for being a force for good. And that leaves their executive team in a very vulnerable position. So basically through Hubbub, what we want to do is we almost want to reward those businesses that are doing good.
But here you're going back to the initiative.
No initiative.
Step
Okay.
back, step back.
So step
Just
back. Okay.
Let's try to,
So
to analyze how it is
okay.
more broadly.
So more broadly, I think they're in a vulnerable position. They're ahead of their customers. So they can be under attack from investors and shareholders. So there needs to be a closing of the gap, so that people understand the motivations of those businesses. They trust the reasons why they're doing it more. They understand the rationale for doing it, and they shift their consumer power and their loyalty to the businesses that are doing good, which will hopefully force others to change as well. I think it's actually a sad state of affairs that it's businesses that are leading.
Depends from one point of view you see it. We've been waiting for years or decades for the government to take a stand. I think it's quite positive to see the private sector taking this leap forward.
Yeah.
But why would communities either be engaged in the first place? Why would they care? And do you think is actually a major shift away from where we are now?
So I think people inherently do care. If all the polls say it's not top of mind, it's not, because people are worried about the economy and sort of, there's lots of things that crime, etc., immigration. So that's always top of their list. But I get a sense that there's a growing undercurrent of concern, and you've seen it with say the extreme weather events we've had. And people are beginning to look at things and say, actually, this feels like it's slightly out of the norm. We're sort of hearing these noises from scientists saying this is what we'd have expected to happen. And so there is that undercurrent of desire to change. And I don't think people quite know how to react to that. What are the things that they can do which are easy, that aren't sort of painful? That add value to their lives and make their lives more interesting and connect them better with others. And I think there is that desire, and I just don't think anybody's untapping that growing level of interest.
Then you find that there is a very thin line between, from your examples then, corporate trying to involve communities, and green PR, which is making your company look shinier and better in front of people, so to say, come and buy my products rather than my competitors.
Yeah. So I think there's less and less green fluff, green PR, because I think businesses have seen other businesses get completely turned over very quickly. And I think also businesses now know that with Twitter and Facebook and social media, customers can talk about businesses and destroy business reputations very fast. So a sensible business is not now going to be talking about fluff. In fact, actually the businesses we talk to, or I talk to, are actually quite reticent about saying too much because they don't want to go too far. So I think there's less of that risk. But I think there's another really big risk for a business, which is, why would a consumer trust them to do those sort of things? So a business could be saying they're doing all the right things, but why does the consumer trust them? And I think that's why you're seeing businesses increasingly partnering with NGOs and other organisations to say, actually, there is validity behind this. So, the great example is Marks and Spencer's and Oxfam with their shopping. Oxfam added the credibility and the validity, and Marks and Spencer's added the reach and the ability for people to get involved.
So from our conversation, it seems like you're rather optimistic about the change. Do you see it as something that will take place in the next year or so, or what is your time frame?
Well, I am an optimist. Call me stupid, but I am optimistic. And I think it will happen, maybe not the next year, but certainly next 2 or 3 years. And I think the reasons it will happen is the science is becoming ever more compelling. People are starting to make the connection between their daily lives and the science, which I think is really important. And I also think businesses, they're like on a roll, and they're like juggernauts, and they're sort of like heading down the track, and it's quite hard to turn it around now. And they've all made commitments, and they've all got things in place. So I actually think it might accelerate rather than stop.
That's what we've been waiting for the last 35 years. Businesses leading the way and government not having other choice than actually.
Well, that's a different question, but
maybe we should meet again and have that conversation.
Probably not.
Wow. This is all from Hug and Snug. Goodbye.